I almost let my anger at Manchester United rule what I was going to write down in the title to this video this morning, and what's going on at the football club, who is to blame. I'll explain more about that, but we are going into a bit of the aftermath from what happened yesterday. More things have come out, more has been said regarding what's happening with United's team, what Ten Hag said after the game, some stuff that will concern a lot of Manchester United fans, but who really is to blame for this right now? I've seen some fans out on Twitter and on social media last night talking about Ten Hag being the main problem here, and these are the people that pretty much put him in the seat where he is now. That pressure on Ineos from the fan base to keep Ten Hag as manager, and these same fans now completely turning on Ten Hag after 3 games in. Let's get through all of that information. We're going to go through the players as well, what happened with that game yesterday, maybe a little bit of a player rating setup as well on this show as well. But please do, first of all, give the video a like. Make sure that you have subscribed as well to the channel to make sure that you miss nothing going on. You've seen all of the content and all of the fan reaction outside the grounds, live before the game, live after the game, just going through absolutely everything and giving as much detail as possible for you guys to get involved in and debate with. So yes, please, another 1,000 likes on this video if you could. That would be lovely to start off the week. We need to cheer ourselves up a little bit, and let's get into it. After the dust has settled and everything that's gone down on the pitch, off the pitch, what was said after the game and everything around the fan base, let's get into some of the details of what's going on. I've particularly put a tweet there at the bottom from Henry Winter. Very respected journalist. Do like Henry Winter. I've met him. I've had conversations with him before on different ventures out at Manchester United in press boxes and stuff. I think one of the best out there. But again, this is the trap that everybody's falling into, I feel. And I just look at it and what Henry Winter has actually said in the tweet, and I'll just read it out again for you guys as well if you're listening along. It says, Manchester United lacks the identity, organisation, responsibility taking and control of Liverpool Football Club. 3 games too early for any decision on Ten Hag. Wait until he gets his players in. But this defeat was embarrassing and damaging, report from Old Trafford. That was his look on the game yesterday. That was how Henry Winter was looking at it. But what I pick out of that is, wait till he gets his players in. What players are we talking about? So you have to be convinced to get Manuel Ugarte in. And what we said, Lenny Yoro, he's a player that's been bought for the future for Manchester United, as the club stated, and that's why they bought him with that known injury that he's got. So he's not a player that's going to automatically come straight into the team with team. He has got his players. He has got them. Are we going to use Luke Shaw again as an excuse for Manchester United not being cohesive on the pitch and not having an understanding? This is what I don't get with certain people and the journalists. Some of them are going right in on it, and I think Henry Winter is fair in his whole outlook on everything with Manchester United. He always has been. But again, I just feel like people are falling into this trap of, there has to be a way out of this. There has to be something that happens. Ineos are not going to spend multi-millions backing a manager and this go wrong. He needs to be given time to actually fix this. He needs to be given time to get his players in, like he's just said there, Henry Winter, and start building up this system and letting the players understand. Look, Manuel Ugarte is not going to fix what happened yesterday at Manchester United. He isn't. If anyone thinks that Ugarte coming in is going to make this all go away, you are sorely mistaken and a bit deluded, to be honest. I don't mean that in any sort of like way against you, but you know what I'm saying, don't you? Like, what would he have done yesterday? Yeah, he may have showed up a couple of moments, but look where the goals came from. Look where Liverpool's goals came from, the flanks again. And Manchester United getting caught in possession in a system and a style of play that leaves them too open for even Manuel Ugarte to fix. Do you know what I mean? Like, Casemiro was left wanting, wanted too much time on the ball, and his legs have gone. You've seen the post about, you've seen the post that Casemiro's wife has put out this morning. It does look like, when you get to this stage now, when you've got the players' wives coming out and just reminding people of who the player is and what they were and what they once was, it starts to get down that road of starting to worry. And the biggest concern and we went through last night quite a lot with what Ten Hag said and where the fault and where the blame was in all of this. Ultimately, the blame is with Ineos for keeping Ten Hag. If we're moaning about a manager that we knew had his flaws last season and the season before in some part, in big defeats, and Ineos have kept him, really, is it Ten Hag's fault that he's still in a job right now? I can blame a lot of the fans for actually the big outcry and the fans that were saying after winning 1 game against Manchester City, look, were Ineos actually listening? And Ten Hag was riding the wave of just winning that game against Man City in an FA Cup final. It's as jubilant as a fan base is ever going to be. And I just don't think they took that decision. I don't think they looked at that decision in keeping Ten Hag and looked past it, I don't think. It does look like that FA Cup final ruled the decision and actually convinced the powers that be at Manchester United that Ten Hag was the right man. And we could go further with him, with more money spent on him. And we talked last night, like Ten Hag didn't pay the money and didn't pay the fees for the players that Manchester United have brought in. That was Ineos, that was Myrto, Steve Arnold, whoever it was. And it is over 600 million that Ten Hag has had spent now on him. So well over $500 million. And you can argue that some of them players' prices were inflated. But the 200 million plus that was spent this summer, not one Manchester United fan that I've seen has said that that is overspending. So he's got them fees right. If you can take 100 million off what we've probably overspent on certain players over the 2 years prior to this summer on Ten Hag, it would still bring you in at about £500 million. £500 million spent on new players. And like Henry Winter says there, just wait for him to get his players in. But honestly, what players? What? Who that we've got that Ten Hag has brought in is going to change what's happening on that pitch? It's the system, it's the style of play. With a goalkeeper that he brought in, that he wanted. That's a goalkeeper that does not save anything, cannot kick a ball, and looks like a rabbit in the headlights every time someone passes the ball back to him. He is a nervous wreck. That's his goalkeeper. And he will keep on playing him. He will keep on playing Marcus Rashford. And now all of these fans coming out saying, it's concerning now. I backed Ten Hag. He was my manager. But what I'm watching right now is really concerning for the future. You're 3 games in, and you're already turning on the manager that you backed and said was the one to take us forward. What? 3 months ago? 3 games in? It's exactly what it was last season, but you were deluded and blinded by one result against Manchester City. The result against Liverpool last season in the FA Cup, 4-3. Everybody forgets about how many chances Liverpool blew, and they did it yesterday. But they took 3 chances yesterday, and United can't score for shit at the moment, so they won the game yesterday. Like, you can look at the stats and you look at what Ten Hag's talking about in XGs and all of that garbage. It counts for nothing when you haven't got the characters on the pitch to actually deal with adversity and struggle mentally to go up against the Liverpool side who are playing well. Look, when you melt like United players do, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about XG. It doesn't matter about stats. Liverpool gave us the ball so they could win the game. Arne Slot pretty much said exactly the same thing. He broke it down. It was embarrassing listening to him, how simple it was in his head as how to beat Manchester United. He figured us out from pre-season. It was just too easy. And for people like Henry Winter and other journalists to come out, I mean, not all the other journalists, as you know, went completely in on Ten Hag yesterday. But the fans are the ones that I feel are, you know what, not to blame, but they did have a big part in Ten Hag staying last season. And yes, it's time to go. And like I said before, I think Ten Hag sees out the season. I said it all along. I came to terms with what Ten Hag was last season. I've seen nothing that convinces me that he is going to take us to where we need to go. Maybe you could scrape in the top 4, but this man will never bring the titles that Manchester United want. People were putting up that interview with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer yesterday, and it's quite... It's quite ironic that that has come up now, and everyone has been searching for that because they're now turning on Ten Hag again. And Solskjaer was saying in it, the progression and the way you judge your team is in the league, and how you consistently perform better week after week after week and climb the table. Trophies are ego trips for managers. You can use a trophy to try and paper over cracks that are there, that are deep in the foundation of your football club. They count for absolutely nothing. Yes, they look good, but in terms of a team and how they're playing and the style of play, that's how you look at progression. That's how you look at a team getting better, not what you win in trophies. Trophies are fantastic, and you can say, I've got a cup, but unless you're winning the Premier League, unless you're winning the European Cup, that is nothing when you're comparing trophies to progress. And Ten Hag kept on coming back at every single journalist yesterday. We're second behind Manchester City. No, we're not. We're 8th. There are 6 other teams in between us and Manchester City, Eric Ten Hag, because everybody knows at Manchester United, you judge United on where they are on the league. That's your bread and butter, not picking up trophies. They're bonuses and extras. He is living his whole Manchester United career off what he wins as cups, and we will be winning trophies next season. That's what Ten Hag says. We're winning trophies at the end of the season. We're competing for trophies. We're not competing for the league. We're not competing for the Champions League. So we're competing for the League Cup and the FA Cup again, is what he's saying. possibly the Europa League. That's it. That's his target for this season. Forget about the league. Because what he's seeing, he's okay in the league. And someone needs to make a decision at some point, and it's only going to keep happening over and over again. United will just flutter around 6th and 8th place as long as Ten Hag keeps talking this way and thinking that this is okay. It's not. It's nowhere near okay. In fact, Ten Hag said afterwards, and this is something else that I've got a massive, massive issue with. And again, it goes down this road of like the players. And like, stop blaming the players. Like, I was going in there in the title of this video earlier on, and Kaz said, no, don't do that, because you'll look like the other people in YouTube who are just looking to get clicked. Just say what's on your mind and actually just break it down and explain to people rather than letting them react to a certain thing that's been said. Actually explain what you mean and talk about what you mean. And I look at, and Ten Hag said last night after the game, and I missed it, I've only seen it this morning, that when asked if he can fix anything when they go back to Carrington, no, I can't. I can't fix this. We have to wait for players to return. What? Players, Eric? Come on, the whole... Nearly enough. More than 2/3 of that team were Eric Ten Hag players. You train a full squad. He bangs on and bangs on and bangs on about it being a squad game. We need depth in squad. Do you not train every single player to the same system? Everybody must know what they're doing when they come onto that pitch. Surely, Eric. Everybody knows. It's like, what do you say? Like this, the players that are missing, right, we take them away and train them separately in this style. And that's what we have to wait for. Forget about the rest of the squad because they don't train the same way. No. Everyone on that training ground is taught and trained exactly the same way. So what players are we waiting for, Eric? Don't even go down that Luke Shaw road right now, because Dallow's probably one of our best performers right now. The fullback situation, for me, is the brightest spark at Manchester United right now. It's the only thing I'm clinging on to. The actual bollocks and garbage coming out of people's mouths trying to defend this at the moment is just ridiculous. I'm not even going to pick out one player in particular. Yeah, I've talked about faults with Casemiro and Onana. Onana's just an issue on his own. He really is. Like, when you're having so many shots and he's not saving any, his save percentage is absolutely woeful. It really is. And it is a big, big problem because it causes nervousness, it causes uncertainty across that back line and everything. When you've got a keeper like that, it's like, what's the point in me actually playing my game? Because I know as soon as someone gets in, and they will, because there's good teams in the Premier League, and eventually they will get a shot. Every time they hit a ball, it goes in. You only have to look at the stats yesterday and just go and look at the stats. Every shot that they hit went in the bleeding net, even the one that was disallowed. Liverpool are clinical, and we have got a goalkeeper that saves nothing. But all over the pitch, everyone is accountable. I throw Bruno under the bus. I thought he was absolutely dreadful yesterday, Bruno Fernandes. And you all know what I think about Bruno Fernandes. And I'll always say it like I'll say what I see. The eye test is the one. You can't ignore what you're watching on the pitch. Body language yesterday. Gave up. Why are them players giving up, Eric? Why are they not fighting for you? Why are they not running to the last? The only player that really showed any willing at all in that game was when Ahmad came on the pitch. Garnacho knows he's coming off. And yes, Garnacho hasn't played many games, and you could argue that point, but we're not even going to use that as the excuse, because later on in the season, if everybody's had a few games, you know the pecking order of players that are going to come off, so you cannot hide behind it. And then he said Rashford created 2 chances for Xerxes. Yes, he did, but you've got Rashford on the pitch there to provide them moments. With Rashford on the pitch, you can't play a system, because he doesn't get involved. There's a moment in the game where Marcus Rashford sprinted about 50 yards to chase down a worthless ball that Alisson had at his feet. 10 seconds later, he's blowing out of his arse, still in Liverpool's arse, a half, while Liverpool are counter-attacking down his side because he'd just wasted. He'd wasted all his energy chasing down the ball he knew he wasn't going to get, just so it looked like he was actually doing something. And people don't pick up on these things. If you're at the ground, you see things differently. And it sounds like I'm going on individual players again, but Ten Hag has to coach Rashford. It's not Rashford's fault that he's doing that. Ten Hag needs to say to him when he needs to go, when he needs to use his energy. He has to control them bursts, because Rashford is that sprint, have that moment, then rest. He cannot run consistently all around the pitch because there's no one faster than him. And everybody knows when you go full out, full speed, you need a bit more recovery time than just running around generally at a certain pace. You need to be coached. You need to know when to go. There needs to be triggers. It doesn't look like Manchester United have anything. The press was shocking yesterday. It was absolutely worthless. Liverpool just set traps for Manchester United all over the pitch and we fell into it. And Ten Hag saying there's nothing he can do. We have to wait for the players to come back. I don't get it. What players are you talking about coming back? I'm going to get into some of your comments now. I've got a few super chats just to read out quickly, then we'll get into more of the chat. Gia says, Agate will make a difference. He will make a difference, but he's not going to fix what happened yesterday. Casemiro's wife can remind us who he was all she likes. He is still collecting checks worth 350 grand a week today, and he's not worth a third of that. Yep, it was, but this is what happens when you allow these players in on these wages. And this isn't an Ineos problem in terms of these players right now. Let's not forget, Ten Hag, Murto, they wanted this player. Forget how much we paid for Casemiro. Forget about the fee. Look, Ten Hag wanted these players. And he said, and he agreed with the recruitment teams of the last 2 years, if they can even call them that he wanted Casemiro in. Look, they wasted their time with Frenkie de Jong, and then they made the decision together to bring Casemiro in. It was simple. So forget about the prices. Take that out of, take what wages on, take what prices on, and what the transfer fee was. Take that out of the question, and then just look at the facts, which are, and the most important ones of all, is he good enough for Manchester United? Is he a player we can build a future around? The answer was no. He was good for one season, and that was it. And he's just fallen off, sadly. A great player whose career is just fallen apart in front of our eyes. Guys, we've got over 1,300 in the room with us right now. And coming to the chat to get your comments now. Please do give the video a like. We're only at 206 likes for 1,300 people in the room. That does not equate. Come on. Give the video a like, guys. Let's get it up at least near 400 for the amount of people we've got in the room. And I'm getting into your say now. Let's go. Right. I don't understand what they do in training. Eric Ten Hag says Agate won't play until October. I don't understand this, as professional players can play immediately, says Vinesh. Ten Hag, again, like just warning United fans, he's not going to play Manuel Agate. I said this yesterday. It's not what United fans want to hear. I understand he's had no pre-season, but I guarantee he'll be going playing for Uruguay in the internationals in the next couple of weeks. So really, there's no excuse. If he has game time there and he trains with over the next 2 weeks and plays in 2 of these games, and surely Manuel Agate has got a chance of playing for Manchester United. Is he going to be talking about not playing Agate because he doesn't know the system yet? What pleading system? Andrew Short, who's there. Andrew, good to see you yesterday, Andrew. There was not one United player there yesterday that played well. The problem is now we are at the same situation as we were under Solskjaer. The players are throwing him under their bus. Ahmad played 20 minutes, most touches in opposition box for United, SLD. Ahmad was man of the match and he came off the bench. And let's not forget, that was another decision that Ten Hag made, just to appease the fans and the outcry for getting Garnacho on the pitch. There was no rhythm or rhyme as to why Ahmad was dropped yesterday. I would rather Garnacho still be on the bench and Ahmad play. It made it worse for Ten Hag that Ahmad got sacrificed for Garnacho. Rashford, look, you can say that he's had more game time. You can say that he's probably fitter than Garnacho. Yeah, he probably is. He's had a full pre-season. And he's probably in a better place fitness-wise. But when you've got a player that just is so bad, you have to start making decisions. I said yesterday, Rashford was a perfect substitute yesterday. Pace at the end of the game. You've got two players there that probably will work the system better in Garnacho and Ahmad. And I'm not saying Garnacho should play 90 minutes. I thought it was right that he came off the bench. Came off and was subbed off the pitch. But why not play Garnacho and Ahmad for 60 minutes, actually be in the game, because you're all working together and that's the best players you can actually play your system with, and then bring Rashford on as an impact sub? No, you cannot bring the most experienced and most appearances, biggest goal scorer at the football club on off the bench in a game against Liverpool, simply because he's got a good record against Liverpool. I said in the road trip yesterday, I think Rashford will score today. I was putting my hope in that Rashford I'd had that slap in the face, the reality check, and this pivotal moment in his career when it came home to him against Liverpool. He needed to turn up. I was just hoping that, and I've got that in me, that one day he will realise the mistakes he's made and how his career is going down the pan. But this is like I said before, and it goes back to the start of the show again. Like Henry Winter saying, wait for the players to come back. Ten Hag saying, wait for the players to come back. Who are you going to change? Who are you going to change in that front line that's going to make a difference? Who are you going to put in? Are you going to change Bruno? You're going to change Kobbie Mainoo? Yeah, you can talk about Casemiro, but you just said yourself Agarte's not going to be ready. Like, who are you going to change? You're going to bring Yoro into that defence? I still don't think you would have played Yoro ahead of De Ligt. And let's be honest, Luke Shaw comes in for Dalot, and that's about it. But Dallow's performing better than what Luke Shaw is at left back anyway. And then it's your goalkeeper. Again, I go down to it. What players are you talking about, Eric? What players are the media talking about when they come back? Look, Højlund up front. Still, people will have the same argument about Højlund and Xerxes not clinical enough. I don't understand it. Look, you're playing Marcus Rashford. He is your one player that scored more goals than anybody and has had that one worldie of a season. You're still playing him. So what players are we talking about that could have changed anything that happened on the pitch yesterday or anything that happened in that game against Brighton or any of the other games that everybody wants to forget about that we were absolutely tated in last season? What are we changing? Someone tell me what we're changing. What? Because Mason Mount wasn't there, we didn't have a press? Is that going to have made a difference? I don't think it would, because we still want to score goals, and Liverpool were always going to create chances and be more clinical than us. The fact that we don't score goals and we don't have a system of play that helps the players know where they should be and how they should be playing and like who is going to be where, like the chopping and changing of players constantly all the time. How are the fullbacks supposed to build any sort of relationship up with anybody in that front line? We're talking inverted fullbacks here. They're supposed to be doing a job in midfield that keeps on letting us down. No, it doesn't make sense to me, and I'm not letting them get away with it. And it comes down to it, like the top of the show, and like the thumbnail says, who is to blame? Is it Ineos for actually picking Ten Hag in the first place, knowing that this was the whole season? Everybody knows you're judged off your league. It's great winning a cup, but when you're sat there week in, week out watching the same old shit, it starts to affect things, and that's how fans will judge what happens. And let's be honest, can you imagine if that goal was given against Coventry? Someone put a post up on Twitter yesterday, and it says, this was the decision that saved Ten Hag's job at Manchester United and why he's Manchester United manager right now. And that was that toenail offside for Coventry scoring in the last minute that would have beat Manchester United, and we would have not even had the chance to win on penalties. There are fine margins in football, and that's the finest of all. The fact that Ten Hag is in a job simply because we scraped through that game against Coventry. We got lucky in that game, and that is why he is in a job right now. I don't think even the biggest Ten Hag fans would say, look, yeah, I can argue with that. I can't argue with that. You can't, can you? Like, he's in this job simply because he won the FA Cup. That's it. And Dan Ashworth pretty much said the same thing. So really, is it Ten Hag's fault? It's not, is it? When you look at it. It's the powers that be, and we've always said this. The overriding blame has always been the hierarchy. It's always been the way that United have run, whether it be the Glazers, whether it be Ineos, or whoever it is, making the decisions and employing the people and paying them the wages that they're on. They're the ones that are looking at it and have the power and control. So they're the ones who know, right, this man, I guarantee you, in any other job, or any other business that Sir Jim Radcliffe or Ineos have got, Ten Hag would have been gone. Is Manchester United and the pressure of the fan base and everything, the sort of, not so much the love affair that Sir Jim Radcliffe have got with the club, like obviously a boyhood Manchester United fan and everything. Is this overclouding judgment? Like, should they have really taken in the fans' opinions and took that away from a business decision? Because they're the ones who have just spent 200 million. And back to manager that's doing the same mistakes as last season. Look, Ten Hag can still turn this around, and it is early. That's the one thing that I will agree with Henry Winter. And I've said it all along. Ten Hag stays until the end of the season. I have to put up with that. I have to put up with my inflated season ticket prices and paying more than I ever have at Manchester United this season to watch the same old shit. But don't worry about that, because United will be competing for trophies at the end of the season. Don't worry about paying over, 1,500 quid for a season ticket and coming here week in, week out, paying all of our wages, and it's all right because we're going to be competing in the cups later on in the season. The league doesn't matter. No, sorry. The league matters. Don't kid the fans. Don't kid the fans. You're talking out your ass completely there, Eric. Again, should he actually be there is the question. Right, chat time. Let's get into it. I've gone on too much there. Wesley says United need a goalkeeper. Kane, new goalkeeper. Onana is garbage. Rashford needs to eat the bench for a few games. We should have held on tightly. We should have held on tightly to Scott McTominay. I disagree with that. Scott wouldn't have made any difference yesterday. Xerxes will not bench Højlund anytime soon. That's for sure. True. There's going to be a battle when he comes back. Henry says, while Erik ten Hag keeps playing Rashford, we will get to nowhere. He keeps juggling the team round. He won't bench him. Erik ten Hag will sack himself. Ashe says, Højlund, Agate and Shaw make this team much more balanced and in line with how Erik ten Hag wants to play. Mount on the bench makes a difference too. That is clutching at straws big time. I'm sorry. It's clutching at straws. So you're still going to play Marcus Rashford. You're going to drop Xerxes, Garnacho or Ahmad. That's going to make a difference, Højlund, because it made a difference last season in the league, in our worst ever Premier League season. Sorry. I understand where you're going. You can try and cling on to that balance, but it's gone way beyond that balance right now. A super chat from Cyril who says, created Nout and they had a goal disallowed in our best period of the game. Our standards have dropped and Erik ten Hag has dropped them by championing moments. Very true. Very true. United's job is too big for Erik ten Hag. So sideways, back to Onana and Hoof. This is Erik ten Hag's system when we are on the ball, says S. Madison. The problem is Erik ten Hag tactics. That is where the book stops. That's from Patrick Stevens. Says Ten Hag has sucked the life out of the team. So many decent players are playing shite. Adam Ineos know they made... Oh, I missed that one. Ineos know they made a mistake keeping him. Just watch their faces yesterday. If this result continues, he will be gone by October. Steve with another super chat. Cheers, Steve. 7 of the starting 11 are Erik ten Hag buys. We are in our third year in change. Has been backed in the window, but still we have no patterns in attack. Needs to go. Are we basically just are we just buying time for the obvious here? Are we just going through the motions? And no, should we just make a clinical decision and say, own up, we got it wrong? Change the manager. There are managers out there that may change this. We already know who they are. I do believe that they will give Erik ten Hag up at least another few months. I'm still convinced they're going to give him while he's still in the Europa League, because if we win the Europa League and get back in the Champions League, then it's 3 trophies in 3 years and we're back in the Champions League. I think that's how the whole look of it is. United can win cups. Are we going to have to accept that we are going to be shite in the league and then just go for the cups? Do we have to accept that as fans? And that's the problem we've got, because we're all paying an absolute fortune to watch this shit week in, week out, and then just wait for cup games that a lot of people can't make because it's in a stupid kickoff time on a Thursday night in the week. It's not fair on the paying fans to ignore what's happening in the league. And everybody just Ten Hag really, because everybody else is picking up on the same thing. That Jimmy Carragher slaughtered Gary Neville yesterday, in my opinion. Carragher was spitting facts because he's not red-tinted. Gary Neville has got ties to Ineos, obviously, because he's part of the team now and the task force that's building this new stadium for Manchester United. This team needs sorting way before that stadium actually comes in, because this team is not fit for that. I was saying it yesterday, it's like Ineos have just spent 100 million on Old Trafford. They built up this new tunnel to inspire great performances. Liverpool walked up there, went like that. What's this shit all about? Yeah, 3-0, there you go. Then you've got Trent like that, winding up the United fans. The new executives, the old executive section taken out at the Stretford end. That was empty with 10 minutes to go near enough. Fans are just giving up. Fans were talking with their feet. Fans got a reality check yesterday, and a lot of the fans that were back in Ten Hag at the end of last season got a real slap in the face yesterday. Oh my God. This could actually be our season again. Well, newsflash. This is your season again. We are not going to suddenly find this swashbuckling, amazing form that we've all been hoping for, that we thought we were going to pick up from Manchester City. Look, pre-season was shit. We didn't score any goals. Opening 3 games of the season, we scored 3 goals and conceded 6 already. We're averaging 2 goals a game conceded, and Ten Hag said it's not the same as last season. Do me a favour, mate. Stop trying to kid the fans. You're never going to be able to do it. You're never going to be able to kid the fans. We can't unsee what we're watching in the stands. And on 60 minutes, again, against Liverpool, in a home game, United fans were emptying the stadium. They were walking out. They'd had enough. That tells you everything, and it should be the one thing that says everything in all of it. You can forget about all of the opinions, and emptying Old Trafford means things are going wrong because they can't be bothered watching the football that's on the pitch. They seen them players yesterday down the tools, and Ten Hag can't inspire them. When he says he can't do anything till players come back, it's lost in translation. He means when they come back from international duty and try and change things. Oh, come on, mate. You know that's not the case. You know that's not the case. Can't do anything till the players come back. Of course you can. Because Marcus Rashford isn't going international duty. You know what I mean? Why don't we work with Marcus Rashford? Why don't we get into him? The so-called player that you are actually putting everything on. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can go through a lot of things, and to use that as an excuse, he cannot fix it. We have to wait for players to come back. It doesn't matter when them players come back, because he's still not going to play Agate, and he's had these players that he played on the pitch yesterday for months now to do things with and get them prepared. So why weren't we prepared for the biggest game in world football when we've got a week to prepare for it? Not having it. Sorry. Not having it. 1,600 in the room with us. Thank you, everybody. Amazing numbers again. Please give the video a like. Let's get that up. We should have more than 370 likes on the show. I know it's not the best time. I know it's after 2 defeats. Now we've had a shocker of a start to the season. I mean, the table doesn't lie. Again, United -3 goal difference, 14th in the league, guys. It's not looking good. Look, we got 2 games after international break, which I think United have to win, and they're not easy games. Southampton and Crystal Palace said last night are both below us in the league, and United should be winning both of them games. But then you're worried, aren't you, because it's away from home, and our record under Ten Hag, we've lost more away games in the Premier League than we've won. And you're not confident about it. You're not confident about anything. And then the next home league game is bleeding Tottenham. Not confident about that one. My God. But yes, that pretty much rounds up the morning show, everybody. Really appreciate you guys jumping in. Absolutely epic. Great comments. I know we're all suffering right now, but we just have to be real to ourselves and not be convinced by the media, not be convinced by Ten Hag that this is okay. Like, we're paying a fortune as fans, whether it's you on your subscriptions at home, taking time out to watch the games, travelling to Old Trafford. I know there's people that travel from all over the world to watch United constantly, and they're not thinking about the fans at all in all of this. They're protecting themselves constantly and ignoring what's important, which is the paying fans that are now talking with their feet and leaving Old Trafford early in games like that against Liverpool. That is criminal. Absolutely criminal. And I appreciate everybody. Like, it's hard for me to say what I'm saying, but I will only say it how I see it, and everyone knows that, and that's why I hope you guys are tuned in to the channel. Welcome along all the new subscribers that have come on over the last couple of days. This is for Every Night TV. I'm Adam. Please do hit the subscribe button, everybody, and make sure you've got them bell notifications. It is important. You miss out on none of the free content. I'm just going to drop the link. I know this is a bit of a thingy one right now, and probably not at the forefront of everyone's to-do list. But yeah, I'm just going to drop a link in the live chat right now for the football prizes prize, which is out right now, which is a couple of hospitality tickets to the Spurs game at the end of the month. No, come to Old Trafford. At least you'll be able to have a drink. At least you'll be able to have some food, and the food is quite nice as long as you avoid the chicken. God, how can I defend this club, honestly? Oh, it's a shame. But yes, our partners at Football Prizes, I've just pinned it up to the top of the live chat to get onto the link there, guys, and get your chance to win a signed Kobe Mainoo t-shirt as well, and the chance to win one of the United new shirts for the season, whether it be the home, the third or the second kit as well as the 2 hospitality tickets against Spurs coming up. Click on that link in the top, guys. And that is everything for this morning. I will be back later on today. Stay tuned. Make sure you've got your notifications subscribed. And you won't miss out on any of the free content. We've got you covered on everything that's going around Manchester United. Let's see what's said this morning, and let's see what else comes out, and see if anything else can surprise us. To be honest, nothing surprising any United fan, I don't think, at the moment. But that is it. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you all later on.